Hello kids, my name is Mark and today we will learn more about sports. Okay, so today we will talk about special sports. Okay, so these sports are for special people with disabilities. Okay, so let's start with this. This is wheelchair weightlifting. Wheelchair weightlifting. Wheelchair weightlifting. Wheelchair weightlifting. Okay, so this is a wheelchair. Okay, so wheelchair, right? And we have wheelchair racing. Wheelchair racing. Wheelchair racing. Wheelchair racing. Okay, so we have wheelchair weightlifting. Wheelchair racing. Wheelchair weightlifting. Wheelchair racing. Now, what is this? Wheelchair weightlifting. And this is wheelchair racing. Okay, so wheelchair weightlifting and wheelchair racing. All right, so next one. Wheelchair rugby. Wheelchair rugby. Wheelchair rugby. Wheelchair rugby. Okay, so rugby with wheelchairs. Okay, next. Wheelchair archery. Wheelchair archery. Wheelchair archery. Wheelchair archery. Okay, so archery, right? Bow and arrow. So we have wheelchair rugby, wheelchair archery, wheelchair rugby, wheelchair archery. Now, what is this? Wheelchair rugby. And this one, wheelchair archery. Okay, so wheelchair rugby and wheelchair archery. Next one is wheelchair table tennis. Wheelchair table tennis. Wheelchair table tennis. Wheelchair table tennis. Okay, so table tennis. Next is wheelchair fencing. Wheelchair fencing. Wheelchair fencing. Wheelchair fencing. Okay, so we have wheelchair table tennis, wheelchair fencing, wheelchair table tennis, wheelchair fencing. So what is this? Wheelchair table tennis. And this one is wheelchair fencing. Okay, so wheelchair table tennis and wheelchair fencing. Okay, now let's try to review. So starting with wheelchair weightlifting. Wheelchair weightlifting. wheelchair racing, wheelchair racing, wheelchair rugby, wheelchair rugby, wheelchair archery, wheelchair archery, wheelchair table tennis, wheelchair table tennis, wheelchair fencing, wheelchair fencing. Okay, now I will ask you some questions. If you agree, you say, yes, it is. If not, you say, no, it's not. Okay, so let's start with this. Is this wheelchair table tennis? Is this wheelchair table tennis? No, it's not. It is wheelchair weightlifting. It is wheelchair weightlifting. It is wheelchair weightlifting. Okay, so it's wheelchair weightlifting. Okay, next. Is this wheelchair rugby? Is this wheelchair rugby? No, it's not. It is wheelchair racing. It is wheelchair racing. It is wheelchair racing. Okay, so it's wheelchair racing. Okay, racing. Next. Is this wheelchair rugby? Is this wheelchair rugby? Yes, it is. It is wheelchair rugby. It is wheelchair rugby. It is wheelchair rugby. Okay, so it's wheelchair rugby. Next one. Is this wheelchair fencing? Is this wheelchair fencing? No, it's not. It is wheelchair archery. It is wheelchair archery. It is wheelchair archery. Okay, so it's wheelchair archery. Alright, so next. Is this wheelchair table tennis? Is this wheelchair table tennis? Yes, it is. It is wheelchair table tennis. It is wheelchair table tennis. It is wheelchair table tennis. Okay, so it's wheelchair table tennis. Okay, last one. Is this wheelchair fencing? Is this wheelchair fencing? Yes, it is. It is wheelchair fencing. It is wheelchair fencing. It is wheelchair fencing. Okay, so it's wheelchair fencing. Now let's say the words 3 times. Okay, let's start with wheelchair weightlifting. Okay, 3 times. Ready, go. Wheelchair weightlifting, wheelchair weightlifting, wheelchair weightlifting. Again, wheelchair weightlifting, wheelchair weightlifting, wheelchair weightlifting. Okay, so wheelchair weightlifting. Next one is wheelchair racing. Okay, 3 times. Ready, go. Wheelchair racing, wheelchair racing, wheelchair racing. Okay, again, wheelchair racing, wheelchair racing, wheelchair racing. Okay, so wheelchair racing. Okay, next we have wheelchair rugby. Okay, wheelchair rugby 3 times. Ready, go. Wheelchair rugby, wheelchair rugby, wheelchair rugby. So again, wheelchair rugby, wheelchair rugby, wheelchair rugby. Okay, so wheelchair rugby. All right, next one we have wheelchair archery. Okay, 3 times. Ready, go. Wheelchair archery, wheelchair archery, wheelchair archery. Okay, again. Wheelchair archery, wheelchair archery, wheelchair archery. Okay, so wheelchair archery. Okay, next one we have wheelchair table tennis. Okay, 3 times. Ready, go. Wheelchair table tennis, wheelchair table tennis, wheelchair table tennis. Again, wheelchair table tennis, wheelchair table tennis, wheelchair table tennis. Okay, so wheelchair table tennis. The next one we have wheelchair fencing. Okay, wheelchair fencing 3 times. Ready, go. Wheelchair fencing, wheelchair fencing, wheelchair fencing. Again, wheelchair fencing, wheelchair fencing, wheelchair fencing. Very good. So wheelchair fencing. Now let's say the words twice or 2 times. Okay, let's start with wheelchair weightlifting. Wheelchair weightlifting. Wheelchair racing. Wheelchair racing. Wheelchair rugby. Wheelchair rugby. Wheelchair archery. Wheelchair archery. Wheelchair table tennis. Wheelchair table tennis. Wheelchair fencing. Wheelchair fencing. Okay, now let's repeat it once. Wheelchair weightlifting. Wheelchair racing. Wheelchair rugby. Wheelchair archery. Wheelchair table tennis. Wheelchair fencing. Okay, now kids, try to answer. What is this? Wheelchair weightlifting. Very good. What is this? Wheelchair racing. Okay, what is this? Wheelchair rugby. All right. What about this? Wheelchair archery. Very good. And this one is wheelchair table tennis. And the last one? Wheelchair fencing. Very good. Now that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next video.